Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another Division 2 video. Today we are breaking down a super powerful solo PvE AR build. I've gotten some requests from you guys in the comment section asking to see a Chameleon solo PvE build, and honestly, this build might be the best Chameleon build I've tried. So give this build a try, I'm sure you guys will like it. Personally, I was actually shocked at how much damage the Chameleon does with the Striker's Battlegear set. This build is a must-have for Year 6 Season 1 and is a very effective solo PvE build. You're gonna find it very easy to clear legendary missions. So the assault rifle we'll be breaking down in this video is one of those weapons that perform quite awful in PvP, but when it comes to PvE content, this gun works exceptionally well and is extremely powerful. However, this weapon does have its weaknesses, and I'll be covering that in the video as well. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Okay guys, for those who don't know, the Chameleon is an exotic assault rifle, but at first glance, it does look like a Vector, which is actually quite interesting. Not to mention the high RPM, which is also very similar to the Vector. In fact, this weapon fires and sounds very similar to the Vector, as well as having some similar stats. One in particular is the low accuracy, which is one of the major downsides of this weapon. And just take a look right here. The Vector's accuracy is just slightly lower than the Chameleon, which is a bit shocking, right? I mean, for an assault rifle, that's pretty dang low. But don't let that distract you from the positive aspects of this weapon, because the Chameleon is a great weapon for PvE. So it's almost like a hybrid SMG assault rifle. I guess we can call it a submachine rifle, right? Also, a pretty cool feature of this weapon is that it changes colors just like an actual Chameleon. I'm not sure what causes the color of it to change, however, but that is a pretty cool feature. But the best feature of the Chameleon is its talent. Adaptive instincts. So basically, landing 30 headshots will grant you an additional 20% critical hit chance and 50% critical hit damage for a duration of 45 seconds. Not bad at all, right? And get this, landing 75 body shots will grant you a ridiculously high 90% increased weapon damage for a duration of 45 seconds. This will have you hitting for over 1 million critical hit damage, which is super satisfying to see. Now, landing 30 leg shots, on the other hand, will grant you 150% reload speed for 45 seconds. These buffs will refresh, however, when you are out of combat, and I believe these buffs can stack as well. So you should be able to stack all three of these buffs. Since you can now re-roll the third attribute on any exotic weapon, I recommend going for damage to armor, or damage to target out of cover for your third attribute. Any of these two will help increase your damage output. However, just keep in mind that this will require you to spend an exotic component each time you re-roll the weapon. For the secondary weapon, I recommend using either the apartment or any of the vectors. The apartment would be a better option, however, because of the talent perfectly measured. This talent will basically increase the fire rate of the first half of the magazine by 20%. The downside, however, is that your weapon damage will be decreased by 27%, but this effect will be reversed for the bottom half of the magazine, and you will be down by a 20% rate of fire with an increased 33% weapon damage. For the sidearm, you may use whatever you like, and for the specialization, gunner would be your best bet. The gunner specialization will aid in your survivability by giving you an additional 30% bonus armor upon using an armor kit for a duration of 10 seconds. Not to mention the passive talent, Incessant, that will give you 10% armor on kill. So I recommend you go with gunner. For the mask, I'm using one piece of the Grupo Sombra brand set, which gives 15% critical hit damage for one piece, rolled with max weapon damage, 12% critical hit damage, and 6% critical hit chance, with a 12% critical hit damage mod. One thing I want to mention is that although I do have 11% armor on this mask from the expertise level, this will not make a huge difference. So save your resources. If anything, make sure you upgrade the expertise on your weapon first, because honestly, you will be getting more of a bang for your buck. This is why, if you noticed, I don't really bother upgrading the armor on my gear, because it just isn't worth it in my opinion. Unless you take it to expertise 26 on all of your pieces, only then will you see the effects. So save your resources. For the chest piece, I'm rocking one piece of the Fenris Group AB brand set for the 10% increased assault rifle damage. This brand set is great to have for assault rifle builds, because of the increased assault rifle damage you get from it. The talent I'm using on this chest piece is Obliterate. Thanks to the recent buff, Obliterate is now better than ever. Critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds. So it's important to have this talent if you want to see some seriously high damage output. Now, for those of you who don't know, having 2 pieces of Striker will give you an increased 15% weapon handling, 3 pieces will give you a 15% increased rate of fire, and 4 pieces will unlock the Striker's Gamble talent. And the Striker's Gamble talent is what makes the Striker's Battlegear set so amazing. So weapon hits increase total weapon damage by 0.65%, stacking up to 100 times, right? Well, by having the backpack equipped, that 0.65% increase will be further increased to 1%. This is thanks to the risk management talent on the Striker bag, so you can see that jump from 0.65% to 1%, right? And it may not seem like very much of an increase, but it adds up, right? So you're definitely going to notice that weapon damage increase per stack from having the Striker backpack equipped. For the attributes, I have maxed rolled armor on this bag with 12% critical hit damage and a 12% critical hit damage mod. For the Striker gloves, maxed armor and 12% critical hit damage. And for the knee pads, maxed armor and 6% critical hit chance. Last but not least, for the holster, maxed rolled armor and 6% critical hit chance. So when it comes to farming for the Chameleon, for those of you who don't have this weapon, it's fairly easy to get. First of all, it's within the general loot pool, so a great option would be either farming the summit or countdown with assault rifles set as your targeted loot. This is also a great way to get the capacitor and St. Elmo's engine exotic assault rifles, by the way. Okay guys, for the skills, I recommend using the Crusader ballistic shield. And for your secondary skill, either a decoy or booster hive. The booster hive is a great skill to use with the Chameleon because the booster hive will increase your weapon handling. And remember that the Chameleon lacks in accuracy and bullet drop-off, which are the 2 major downsides to this weapon. For an assault rifle, this is pretty bad. Assault rifles are expected to have a fairly decent amount of accuracy, given that they are weapons designed for mid to long-range combat, right? So the booster hive will help with that tremendously. Also, you might want to use the decoy for legendary missions since it serves as a great distraction, and perhaps use the booster hive for when you are running heroic or challenging difficulty content. So for example, I like to use a decoy at the beginning of the legendary District Union mission. Dropping the decoy in the beginning gives me enough time to get to a good spot, as it will serve as a distraction for NPCs. This is Prajna. Thank you so much for watching the video, guys. For all of you who made it to the end of this video, all the best to you and many blessings. In this world of so many distractions, unfortunately, many people have an extremely short attention span as a result. You, however, are the exception. Keep it cool, keep it classy, and see you in the next video. Peace out.